So I've just shot a video where I shared a bit of a simple perspective on the question of what should you do with your life. And the simple answer to that question was that you should be doing whatever feels right to be doing in the moment. And I've shared a story about how I was in Italy and one day I felt like going for a walk, and usually I would go to the city taking the bus. And that day I saw the bus and I realized that I didn't feel like going to the city and I felt like going for a walk. And it kind of the contrast of having that kind of choice and seeing people in the bus and thinking, why are you going to the city? I don't feel like going to the city. It makes no sense. Why are you going to the city? So the contrast made sense for me, and it kind of answered the question of, well, the right thing to do in this moment and the right thing to do with your life is that which feels right in the moment. And for the people in the bus, it made sense to go to the city. For me, it made sense to go for a walk. I didn't feel like going for a walk. They didn't feel like staying, like going in the city, and they didn't feel like going for a walk. So the answer is always kind of showing up as this emergent experience that feels right to do now, and it will feel right to do next and next and next and next. So that was the previous video. That was a bit of a summary. And I mentioned that I might be making another one about the 3 levels of purpose. So that's the video that we're shooting now. Because I wanted to touch on this idea of purpose. What's the purpose of life? What's the purpose of my life? But seen from 3 different levels, from three different, you could say, angles. So what if you saw your purpose as happening on these 3 different levels? So your purpose now, your purpose in this life, and your purpose for eternity. So think of it at these 3 levels of time, or different time perspectives, you could say. So your purpose unfolding now, in this life, and forever. These are 3 layers, right? 3 levels, you could say, of purpose. And we could say, that's one way to think of it, right, as a framework. So we could say that my purpose in life is, or right now, is to do whatever I'm doing right now, which is what we discussed in the previous video and at the beginning of this one when I gave you a summary. So the purpose of your life now is to experience this, whatever is happening right now. And ideally, if the mind is not interfering too much, it is to be experiencing what you feel like doing now and not what you think you have to be doing. That's when the ego interferes with now and kind of corrupts it and it kind of forces us, makes us feel like we have to do something other than what feels right. So that's your purpose now. Your purpose for your whole life, we could say, is healing. It's the unlearning of insecurity. So that's a bit of a different perspective on the purpose of a lifetime. And it's actually what I've come to see as the becoming a secure being, or the unlearning of insecurity. Because you could see a whole lifetime as a playground for a soul to come in and learn to unlearn insecurity, learn to be a more functional and authentic being. If you think of a human as just one way that a soul learns to become a harmonious being, then we come in here to face our fears, to face our immaturity and our ignorance and our insecurity, and in a sense unlearn it out of the system. Some people describe it as the journey from fear to love. I see it as just recognizing our own insecurity through the experiences we're having and through the self-awareness, and releasing it, not acting it out. So you could say that the purpose of a lifetime is healing or unlearning insecurity. And then the purpose of a soul for eternity, you could say, of a being for eternity, if we assume that we are individual beings, or at least it seems like we are, it seems like we're these souls on a creative journey through existence. That's one way to see it. So for eternity, the purpose would be creativity. You could also say that it would be connection, so to connect and create. But for simplicity, let's say that it's creativity, because we can kind of include connection within creativity. It's just another form of creativity. It's connecting with another human being or another being overall. So think of purpose at these three levels: your purpose now, your purpose for this lifetime, or for a lifetime, and your purpose for eternity. So these levels of purpose being to do whatever you're doing, to heal your insecurity, and to be creative. Now, the interesting thing is that all three of these purposes are happening now. So right now, you're either suffering, aka facing your insecurity and healing it. That's what suffering is, you could say. Or being creative. So for example, I'm shooting a video right now. Therefore, I'm being creative. I'm manifesting my creative nature, which is, to work with ideas, to synthesize different ideas and different frameworks, and then facilitate that clarity for other people. And different people have different kind of creative configurations and creative natures that I've come to call them. So in this moment, you're either healing your insecurity by facing the different kind of fears and insecurities that are coming up in your consciousness to be seen and kind of processed, released, or you're being creative. But overall, this is a potentially helpful way of thinking of purpose in this more structured way. So the purpose of this moment is to experience this moment. The purpose of this life is to heal, to become a secure being, to become a being that is moving from a fearful way of being in the world to a loving one. And overall, our purpose is to be creative and to connect with other beings as we do so. So hope this made some sense and gave you some clarity around purpose on these three different levels. And yeah, I'll see you in another one.